liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Have a seat. Roll call.
Holcomb.
Here barely.
Nikki.
Here.
Sarah. Phillips.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
John.
Here.
Page.
Here.
Lemmings.
Here barely.
Bass.
Here. Alrighty, up on to approving the agenda. We have the addition of one resolution that was sent out via email, but it was not included on the actual agenda itself. So we'll need to approve that, as well as two ordinances that were sponsored by Nikki Brown. Do I hear a motion and a second to add those to the
A
agenda?
resolution.
One resolution and two ordinances.
Yes.
Okay.
And who motioned?
Motion by Mary and second by host. Becky. You seconded it, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Oh.
He did.
Okay, gotcha.
Who did?
They were coming from everywhere. I couldn't tell. Okay, we
It was
have
well seconded.
we have a motion and a second to approve the changes to the agenda. Any discussion? Roll call vote for the agenda.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Excellent. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes and financials?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes and financials. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next up is county judge's comments, and I just want to say that usually we are used to being in the bullseye of natural disasters, and it's almost like we had a protective hand over us this time. The rains went to either side of us and even came around us. We didn't even, to my knowledge, we didn't have a ditch that got out of its banks unless there was something obstructing it. We were just blessed. We got a good rain. It cooled the weather down. We didn't get too much rain. There was flooding in Morrilton, flooding in Faulkner County. There was flooding in Cleburne County. Literally every county around us had some flooding. Very disastrous and major flooding in Marion County and northern Searcy County and southern Baxter County. Did Yell County have some as well?
A little bit.
Okay. So I'm very thankful that we were spared from this one. Next up, justices, would you like to hear from any of our department heads or officials, Would any of you like to approach the court? Silence is golden on this one. Next up, Dr. Deb Brennan from Buren County Farm Bureau County Programs.
Okay, great. All right. You all received some handouts that will give you more information than I will, but I'm here just to kind of give you a general overview of some of the things that Farm Bureau is doing in our county. They're doing a lot of things that I'm not going to talk about today just because of time constraints. I want to start by saying that the Farm Bureau is a grassroots organization. The policies that go up to Washington, D.C. start at our level here in the county. And we will be having on August the 8th a policy meeting. And I think you participated in one, didn't you? So things that are of issue to the county and rural development and rural activities will start at our level and filter up through the organization. And the Farm Bureau is not just about farms. We deal with everything related to rural communities, including electricity, the cost of electricity, infrastructure, including water, windmills, I mean, you name it. And we like to hear from as many members of the community as we can with what their resolutions and concerns may be, and we'll take those to the state meeting, and the state will either agree or disagree, and then they'll go up to the national board. the National Farm Bureau organization lobbies directly with our congressional people, and our state board lobbies with our people down in Little Rock. So being a member of the Farm Bureau gives you an opportunity to have your voice heard statewide and federal-wise. Some of the things that they've done in their lobbying that have made a difference in this county is federal money coming in here for infrastructure, including roads, bridges, broadband. Broadband's made a big difference here. They lobbied for the money to come through rural electric and the rural development to supply broadband to everyone in this county that wanted it and needs it. And they work specifically through rural electric as well as our telco and our phone companies. And they've done that nationwide for rural communities. So at the state and local level, I want to just talk to you about two programs that we've had that I think would be of interest to you. One has just been completed June 17th to 21st, and it's called the MASH program, which is Medical Applications for Science and Health. And I don't know if you all are familiar with that, but that's an Arkansas initiative to support us in rural areas having medical professionals that come from rural areas that want to live in rural areas. The majority of our nurses and PAs and all seem to come from the city and want to stay in the city. So the Farm Bureau has supported through their MASH program enhancing and getting folks that are from rural areas that like living in rural areas to look into healthcare careers. And we just participated with the Ozark Medical Center through Kayla Passmore. And we had 4 students that came and spent a week at the hospital shadowing, looking at the opportunities and careers available for them in rural communities. I spent an hour with them talking about veterinarians and public health officials and what we do to support disease investigations and research, and how critical it is as far as animal disease to especially have veterinarians and other healthcare professionals rurally, because that's where a lot of the things are first picked up. And the students that were there, they were interested in everything from physical therapy to being physician's assistants to occupational therapy. They had pediatric, actually, occupational therapy. So they already were thinking about these careers, and it's just the kind of things that we need here to support our people. The Farm Bureau, our local Farm Bureau, supported this program, which is why we had a camp here, a mini MASH camp at our hospital. And they supported it financially to the tune of $500+. So we just feel it's really important. You know, the Farm Bureau, everybody thinks that it's for farmers or the insurance, and that's not really what we do at all on the board. Another program I want to talk with you about that you might not be familiar with, but I'm sure if you like to hunt or fish, you might be willing or interested in supporting it. And that's the Arkansas Hunters Feeding the Hungry. And our county has benefited from this as well. We, as I was telling Debbie before the meeting, we support by $500+ every year for these snacks to go in backpacks. 2 years ago, they went to the Shirley School District. Last year to the Clinton School District, and this coming year for 24 they'll be going to Southside, so that we're covering all of our school districts. And you can participate in this when you get a license to hunt or fish. They have options for you to donate $1, $5, or $10 toward this program. You can also donate in other ways, such as sharing part of your venison, or if you like to duck hunt, they take all kinds of game And actually, they take cattle too when they have shortages and off seasons for the others. So you might try the snack sticks. They're really good. And you don't have to provide a whole deer. You can provide part of a deer or the hamburger of the venison burger part, whatever you're interested in. And there's a list of, and I have it here if anybody's interested, of places that support and participate in this program. And they work over the season to freeze and make sure these things are available. And the state office will come and pick up the meat when they reach a certain critical amount. But we have not one in our county participating, but there's several in Faulkner and over in Heber Springs and other places that participate. And I'm hoping maybe I can get our county to participate, processors to participate as well. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was Farm Bureau membership, because I don't know how many of you are members, but we, of course, for lobbying purposes in Arkansas state and at the federal level, it's always good to have more numbers and members rather than less. And I put out for you information on the benefits of membership. It's $40 a year for the family. And you might think, well, what does it matter? I don't have a farm. I don't have Farm Bureau insurance. But neither of those things matter. To be a member, we're not involved in the insurance part of it at all. But you know, the questions you need to ask are, do I live in a rural area? Do I care about energy costs? Do I care about making sure we have good infrastructure, whether it be broadband or water? Do I care that we have decent health care here in our rural area and medical professionals? So, and especially, do I have ideas and opinions that I want to make my voice heard, either at the state level or at the national level? So those are all reasons to think about becoming a member of Farm Bureau. So for $40 a year, and this is, I handed out brochures, some of the main things I think I get from it are your input in policy development that directly affect our county. Your interest in having representation both at the state level and the federal level, because there are lobbyists paid for that will go and promote these things, and we've been the beneficiary when it comes to broadband and infrastructure dollars. So those are important things, and again, numbers talk. Access to state and local Farm Bureau scholarships, and I was surprised to find out, I know the ones that we do locally, but across the state, $160,000 have been handed out yearly in scholarships for students going into healthcare or going into rural development, engineering, for infrastructure, a whole host of things that, you know, most people would think it's only for agriculture, but that's not the case. Children's car seats, everybody has needs for those as grandparents or parents. We get them at a very low cost through Costco, and it's just as simple as stopping into Mickey Parrish's office and filling out the forms to get them. One of the things that I use regularly, the 20% off hotel costs at Choice Hotels, and there are a whole lot more of them than I knew about, and again, they're on the brochures that I hand out to you. But if you do any traveling, it doesn't take long for that 20% to add up to way more than the $40 thing. And one of my personal favorites, a $500 cash gift card toward our Ford truck, or any Ford truck. We have a Maverick, and when we bought our Maverick 2 years ago, the Farm Bureau paid $500 toward it. And that $500, sure, it's over 10 years worth of $40 membership, so it's really good. Many entertainment venues, Silver Dollar City, Dollywood, the Great Wolf Lodge, for anybody that enjoys those sort of things. you get 15 to 30% off on those. A lot of people I know have taken advantage of the John Deere rewards and discounts for mowers and for other like mules and things that you don't have to be a farmer to use and value. Case, they do supply like up to $2,500 towards tractors and equipment. But the best of all, locally, is our catfish catered dinner for all of you and your family who are members. And this year it's going to be, our annual meeting will be August the 27th. And for $40, your whole family can come and eat as much as they want catered catfish. So I did put some membership applications over there on the table that if you want to fill them out, I can take them with me, or you can drop them off, fill them out and drop them off in Mickey's office. But, you know, that's just a quick and dirty of two of our programs that we do. And at some point, I'd like our women's committee to come back and talk about the different things they do with Deb at our library, which they do at the county fair, and we provide books. They do education, in-class education. So there's a lot more that we could talk about, but I just wanted to keep it short today. So, and talk about some things I bet you didn't know were happening in our community and Farm Bureau was sponsoring. So, thank you. Appreciate your attention.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That moves us on to our next business, which is new business. And our first ordinance is sponsored by Becky Page.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance number O-2023-54, the annual operating budget for 2024 to increase revenues and appropriate $8,600 into County General number 1000-804-3113 for the Scotland Community Senior Center, let me get that right. Whereas Resolution R-2024-08 was passed in the June 2024 Quorum Court approving the county judge to apply for a grant through the Arkansas Rural Community Grant Program for the Scotland Community Senior Center to replace the HVAC system and repair a professional grade stove. And whereas Resolution R-2024-08 also agrees to approve $8,600 for the center's 50% match. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, $8,600 be appropriated into number 1000-804-3113 Scotland Senior Citizen Grant. I move that we accept this.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any discussion? Roll call.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
O 2024-21.
Thank you. Our next ordinance is sponsored by Nikki Brown.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance O-2023-54, the annual operating budget for 2024, to appropriate $5,000 into a maintenance fund 100123-4004 machinery and equipment from a check received from the county's cell phone tower. Whereas Van Buren County received a check from Puck Towers LLC in the amount of $5,000 for the renewal of the county's cell phone tower lease agreement. And whereas an air conditioning unit went out at the deputy prosecutor's office and a replacement had to be purchased. And whereas there's a need to appropriate the money to purchase the air conditioning unit. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that the amount of $5,000 shall be appropriated into 1000-0123-4004 machinery and equipment from the money received from Puck Towers LLC for the purchase of an air conditioning unit at the deputy prosecutor's office. I move that we approve as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any discussion?
So where's the bid for the air conditioning unit? Do we have anything knowing what it's going to cost of the unit itself?
We do. It was over $10,000 5,000, over 5,000 for the unit, a little over 5,000 for the labor. I believe.
So
I've got the bill on my desk.
where's the rest of the money coming from for the,
It's already in the maintenance budget.
okay.
This cell phone tower will help assist that because our maintenance money's running quite low. Good question. Any other discussion?
So is this a annual thing that happens every year? We get this $5,000 or?
No, it's actually every 10 years.
10 years.
It's
Okay.
the cell phone tower that we acquired when we owned the property that Global Foods is on.
Mhm.
And when that property was transferred or purchased by Global, we kept the cell phone tower. So we get a small monthly rent, and then every 10 years we get a lump sum.
I knew I hadn't seen that money
Right.
before, so I'm just curious.
You said that the maintenance fund was running low. I mean,
We've had a lot of air conditioning units go out. You'll see a couple of ordinances in here today. We've had a roof fall in over at the Literacy Council. We've had just a lot of repairs this year that I guess in the past they've either staged themselves out and not clustered themselves as tightly as they have, or we got to rely on some ARP funds in the last few years
so
for some of those.
big picture budget wise, big picture, where are we at?
Oh, big picture. We have. Pardon me.
Are we good?
We're good. If you look at the fund balance that was passed out, the general balance is at 1.345.
So it's increased.
1.3 million. So we're good. I think.
The insurance won't cover none of these repairs needed?
No, they're very old. But good question. And it's kind of like the roof. Insurance won't cover that because it's so old. It's considered maintenance. Any other discussion? Good questions. I like them. Roll call vote.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Paige.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2024-22.
Thank you. Our next ordinance is sponsored by Mike Bradford.
An ordinance to repeal ordinance 2024-11 authorizing the county judge to enter into an agreement with the Arkansas Department of Transportation for the purpose of accepting State Highway 337, Section 1 in the Sugarloaf community into the county road system in exchange for an economic expansion project in Conway County, Arkansas. Whereas on March 2024, the Van Buren County Quorum Court agreed to accept the above stated road into the Van Buren County road system, and whereas the county judge of Conway County, Arkansas, Jimmy Hart, agreed to accept Van Buren County's agreed upon miles into the Conway County road system, which satisfied the need from RDOT to complete the economic development project, and whereas there is a need to repeal the original ordinance 2024-11. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that ordinance 2024-11 is hereby repealed. I move we accept this.
Second.
Have a question.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Discussion.
Can you give us an update? Because when Steve Good was here, it kind of seemed like this was a domino effect. It started with us, and if others didn't approve, that this whole expansion of the plant at Morrilton may collapse. Do you have any kind of update on what's happened with all that?
I do. They released the bid, and they let the bid, and the bids came in. There was a problem with the contractor on an existing job, so they kind of sat on this for a few months to make sure everything was good. They have let the bids have been approved, and the project is ready to get started. And I think they're having a groundbreaking really soon. I doubt if I get invited to that, but I think there's a groundbreaking on it. But I will say this. Steve Good did a very good job of coming and letting everybody know exactly how important this project is. And I appreciate you guys for acknowledging the importance of that project. And I think it was very classy of the Conway County judge to take our miles.
Yes, sir.
Because he did acknowledge that they would be receiving tax dollars from the plant itself, and that we had already taken in 10 miles in the past for a project, and even with our miles, their total miles taken in was about 6.5. So,
Yeah.
and the city of Morrilton took in some miles too. The project is a go, and
Yeah, but I also
Yeah.
want to say kudos to Mike Bradford for standing up for his constituents. He stood where he needed to stand, and so kudos to both.
you bet.
So this means that if we rescind this ordinance, this falls in our lap. We're responsible to take care of the road and stuff.
No, it's exactly the opposite. This is basically housekeeping, because we don't need an ordinance hanging out there that tells us to do something that's already been satisfied.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So a vote yes is to repeal the ordinance.
Yes. Yes. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Paige,
Yes.
Lemmings,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
O 2024-23.
You know what? I don't think it is. This needs 3 reads. It's not an appropriation, and there is no emergency.
Can
So,
we make a motion to forego three readings? I make
Absolutely.
a motion to forego 3 readings.
okay, actually, we're making do I hear a motion to suspend the rules?
I make a motion to suspend the rules for
conduct all
3
three.
readings.
Yes, excellent. We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules to conduct all 3 readings at this meeting. Any discussion on the motion to suspend? Roll call vote for suspension.
Holcomb,
Absolutely.
Nikki, Phillips, Mike, John, Paige, Lemmings,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Okay. Rules are suspended. So, Mike, would you care to read it on its second read by title only?
An ordinance to repeal ordinance 2024-11, authorizing the county judge to enter into an agreement with the Arkansas Department of Transportation for the purpose of accepting State Highway 337, Section 1 in the Sugarloaf community into the county road system in exchange for an economic expansion project in Conway County, Arkansas.
Thank you. Third and final read, please.
An ordinance to repeal ordinance 2024-11, authorizing the county judge to enter into an agreement with the Arkansas Department of Transportation for the purpose of accepting State Highway 337, Section 1 in the Sugarloaf community into the county road system in exchange for an economic expansion project in Conway County, Arkansas.
Excellent. And just for housekeeping on this one, since I kind of messed up on the front side and we didn't do the 3 reads before we voted, do I hear a motion to accept the procedure as it was conducted, that the motion has passed with all 3 reads? So we have a motion and a second to accept that. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Our next ordinance is sponsored by Nikki Brown.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance O 2023-54, the annual operating budget for 2024, to increase revenues and appropriate $9,655.71 into the maintenance fund 1000-0123-3009, other professional services, to repair the fire alarm system at the Van Buren County Health Department. Whereas Van Buren County has received a quote from Merrimack Fire and Safety for repairs to the fire alarm system at the Van Buren County Health Department. And whereas the expense is above and beyond what was anticipated for the 2024 budget, and whereas there is a need to appropriate the funds to pay for the repair. Therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that the amount of $9,655.71 shall be appropriated into 1000-0123 0123-3009, other professional services for repairs to the fire alarm system at the Van Buren County Health Department. I move that we approve as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Discussion.
Was there more than one quote gotten?
It's one of those things where it's almost proprietary. So,
Yeah, they was gonna shut them down. They should have. From my understanding, this thing has been out for 2 years. And it's been tagged, but nobody followed up on it. And they just now caught it that it had to be done. And they was gonna shut the health department down completely for that, so. Also, on the second note here, and I know it's not part of this, but they've had our air conditioning unit go out. I was talking to the lady at the county, the clerk up there, the head clerk, and she said they just had air conditioning going out through there, so. You're talking about air conditioning, that's why I was asking about while I go, because I'd already heard from my neighbor that there was another issue there, so.
yeah.
Who's the other one that went out, the air conditioner?
Here at the health
Health
department.
Oh, at the
Health
health
department.
department, okay.
Yep.
And have we covered that?
No, we have not. This just now happened, but we're talking about another air conditioning unit going out, so that's why we just, Dale was saying the maintenance level budget was low, and,
Yep.
so I know we just put flooring in this. Was the flooring a need that we did, or just because we had money, we put new flooring in the health department not long ago? Is that some money that we could have diverted otherwise?
Well, that flooring was ARP funds.
Okay. I
So
thought
that was planned out way in advance, way before we ever knew that we would have
issue
fire alarm issues.
Right. But I do think that my understanding was there's some kind of moisture issue with that floor from before. What was that? They had some kind of moisture issue because when they went to first put the floor in, remember they were like, we can't even do this because I don't remember exactly, Virgil, but there was a pretty significant reason that it needed to be done as far as the flooring, if I recall.
Right. The tiles wouldn't
Moisture
stay.
or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
the tiles wouldn't stay down, and there was
Yeah, I don't remember.
there was a mold concern, and but
Because
all
at
that's been
first-
mitigated.
when was this building built? I mean, it's
It was in the 90s,
okay.
early 90s.
So since the maintenance fund is running low, what are we gonna do to address the air conditioning unit at the health department?
That was the one that we just actually discussed, the $10,000 repair, the $5,000 from the
Okay,
Puck Towers,
okay,
assisting in that, and then pulling the rest of the 5 out of what's still in there.
okay.
No, that's deputy prosecutor.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just the
it is.
deputy prosecutor's
And that
office.
was.
Air
It was.
conditioning
We
unit,
still
Do we have
have,
it?
yeah, we still have some money in maintenance, we can, yeah. We'll get that.
Well, if you look farther in the packet, there's more trouble coming. Coming back again. So, and the next one is one that I think, I don't know if it's appropriate to talk about it now, since it's all related to maintenance.
It is all related
Okay.
to maintenance.
Is the ceiling fell in over at the annex in one of the offices where the literacy council is. And so coming up is another one I'll be reading for $20,000 to patch that. Now,
For a ceiling fan?
no, the ceiling. No. Take a breath. But,
That's a big thing.
I don't know anything about, I know roofs are expensive, having to deal with them, but I don't pretend to know, is it smart? I think that Dale said that at one time we talked to someone and it would be $200,000 to fix that whole roof. Is it smart to patch as we go? We don't have $200,000 to fix the whole roof, but I don't know the strategy, in talking about what,
So it depends on how big the problem is. If it's a small problem, patches you go. If it's a large problem, you need to look at it at a different angle.
Right.
That every situation is different. You just need to look at it.
I'll have a little bit more to say about that when we
Okay,
get to that
okay.
ordinance.
That's coming up, so prepare yourself in the next 3 minutes.
But what a different day we're in, because you actually do have a county general fund balance of well over $1.25 million. So we we've seen the day where we just didn't have the money we'd have been out of business. We just let them get hot and we couldn't fix it up. So kudos to y'all for managing a tight budget.
Been a lot of times we've had to borrow money to finish out the year. We haven't had to do that in a while.
I sure hope we don't have to ever anymore. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
O 2024-24.
Thank you. Virgil, next ordinance is yours.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance O 2023-54, the annual operating budget for 2024, and to increase revenues and appropriate $1,520 into the sheriff's office budget for the K-9 unit. Whereas monies was collected through a fundraiser for the K-9 unit, and whereas this money needs to be appropriated into the sheriff's office in county general. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, $1,520 be appropriated into the sheriff's office budget 1,000-400-304 K-9. I move that we approve it as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Phillips. Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
O 2024-25.
Thank you. Our next ordinance is sponsored by Nikki Brown.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance O 2023-54, the annual operating budget for 2024, to increase revenues and appropriate $20,000 into the maintenance fund 1000-0123-3009, other professional services to repair the roof of the North Annex. Whereas there is a significant roof leak in the North Annex above the area used by the Literacy Council. And whereas there is a need to appropriate the money to fix the roof. Therefore, be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that the amount of $20,000 shall be appropriated into 1000-0123-3009 other professional services to repair the roof of the North Annex. I move we approve as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Discussion. I'll start some discussion. If you look at the roof, especially like from Google Earth, you'll see that these buildings were built in segments, and there are pieces of roof all over the place that kind of abut each other. So at this part of the roof where the leak has occurred, I think a patch is in order instead of just a complete re-roof there. The patches seem to work for quite a while. We have some that have, I know we've done in 2019, and they're still holding.
So is the CAC one
The
holding?
CAC one is holding, to my knowledge. If it's not, they haven't let me know about it yet. This is a guess on the $20,000 because this is based on other roof repairs that were around the same type of repair. If it's not that much, then fantastic. We have this happened 2 days ago, so we have quotes coming in.
I was just gonna say, more than one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a three-part question. Number one, is this at a joint where the buildings were put together, were expanded?
It is not.
The last roof repair was it 2019?
No, not on this part. I honestly don't know when the last roof repair on this part was.
So will we have to come back and appropriate more money if it's more than 20,000?
Yes.
Do you think that it, so here's question number 4. Think it'd be better to wait until we get a bid to appropriate the money instead of having to do it twice?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to talk, I'm not saying, I don't know. I mean, I think it needs to be fixed quickly. I mean, like, I saw pictures of it. I mean, the roof came down. I mean, you know, it's got the tile ceiling and it came through and those are broken.
That's providing you can get a contractor
So-
to get it.
But I don't know long-term, like, are we just gonna keep, I say all this saying, I do not know where we would get $200,000. But are we gonna keep Band-Aiding? I mean, is that smart? Is that not smart? I don't know the answer.
So on a commercial roof, you know, if you look at it in terms of years, you know, so if we invest $20,000, if it lasts us 5, 6, 7 years, then obviously it's worth it. But that's why I asked, was the last roof repaired 2019? Well, now we're 5 years down the road. Is it going to make more sense to wait and get the estimate to see what the number is going to be? I understand this is an emergency. The roof is fell in and needs to be addressed ASAP. But are you going to be able to get a contractor and it repaired between now and the next Quorum Court meeting? Because obviously we'll have a number between now and then, but availability of contractor and getting the work done between now and then, I think that you are really pushing it.
We will.
You'll get it done?
Harness, we always get the lowest price from Harness Roofing. They do these flat roofs. We inherited, I don't know why people ever built a flat roof. I wish they'd have put just a little bit of a pitch on it when they built it. It'd have been so much better.
Because that's all they could afford back then. I know,
Yeah.
I worked there.
And but they actually, because of our long-standing relationship with many other leaks on these flat roofs, they'll pull off a job and come get us done.
You're confident it'll be fixed relatively soon?
I am.
You think it's going to cost 20?
I sure hope not.
I'm hoping maybe that'll influence it. They'll be like, well, I got
Because
20.
we have a long-standing relationship. You think that's going to get close?
No, I got 20 already, you know, that's what they approved for me, so I really need you to do it for that. That's what I'm kind of hoping.
Well, it is absolutely a guess. And when I talk to Nikki, because she's of course the sponsor of the ordinance, it's like, do you think 20 will be enough? Should we appropriate more just in case it does go over, or how should we do this? But I really think 20 will catch it.
So my question is, if you got the tiles that are falling down, we have rain in the forecast for the next week, not the next 2 days, 3 days, but after that rain, are we going to remove some of those tiles? Are our maintenance people going to do that? Because you're going to run them all if you leave them up there.
They're already out.
They're out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll set buckets and let her drip.
There you go. All right. I feel a lot better about that. Our 20,000 is going up if you just keep going across those tiles there. So.
Right. Yeah, there was insulation and tiles that we've removed.
Good deal.
So, yes. Because the Literacy Council, they do a lot of good work, and we can't get in their way. We need to get in there, get out, and let them do their thing.
Is all the rooms down through there, are they all being used? Are they shuffled to another room right now?
They're still in their same room. We just got the stuff out of their way. But yeah, we have a pretty full annex right now. It's a lot of property, but we're getting a lot of good use for the county out of it.
And here's the other thing, not that I ever, you know, we don't want to spend more than we have, but in looking at the general and the reserve accounts, the other thing that, you know, we need to remember is we ended up not breaking that CD. You know, we left it. So that's, you know, over 800,000 in another reserve account. I mean, so far this year, and I am knocking on wood, I mean, you know, that's went okay. So if we, you know, we're looking okay. We're only halfway through, so can't guarantee, but we didn't end up breaking that CD, so it is still there. Even though this maintenance stuff is high right now, maybe we'll, you know, so far we're bearing it. If we continue to.
And there's no guarantee that we won't be back begging for more money next Quorum Court.
As long as we have it, Dale. I mean, that's the main thing, Judge, is that, we're not putting ourselves in a spot. That's the main thing.
Any more discussion?
I wouldn't determine it as begging, because we want to take care of our county officials, and they're working a good job for us, and we want to make it work right. I mean, we want to spread it out as thin as we have to thin, but keep on working.
Right. But I feel like it's a failure on my part, even when it's not. There's nothing we could have done about it. I mean, these are just one-offs.
Yeah.
But I wish I could have got it worked into the budget at budget cycle instead of having to keep coming back and, tapping the can and making a racket to bring attention to it. I guess it'd be nice if the money was just there and we could spend it. But it's what it is. Nothing wrong with trying to do better. Anything else?
Then we may have to look at next year about increasing the maintenance budget, because these buildings are getting old.
They are.
So-
And things aren't getting cheaper.
No, I remember when this was a hospital and nursing home, so. And I was young then.
I wasn't so young. Any more discussion? Roll call vote.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
O 2024-26.
Thank you. And next we have a rewrite of an ordinance that is sponsored by Nikki Brown.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend ordinance O 2024-20 to appropriate $50,000 into the General Reserve Fund number 1001 and to transfer and appropriate the sum into the County General Fund for the Sheriff's Budget 1000-400 to be used towards the purchase of dash cameras. Whereas, as stated in ordinance O-2024-20, the requirement for dash cameras will be mandated in 2025. And whereas the Sheriff's Office secured grant funds toward the purchase of the dash cameras, however, these funds do not cover the entire cost. And whereas it was intended by the court to appropriate these monies into the General Reserve Fund number 1001, but was not added to the annual operating budget ordinance O-2023-54. And whereas these monies will need to be appropriated into the General Reserve Fund number 1001 and transferred and appropriated into the County General Fund for the Sheriff's Office number 1400. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1 Ordinance number O-2024-20 be amended, and Section 2, $50,000 be appropriated into the County Reserve Fund number 1001-103-9999, and Section 3, $50,000 be transferred from the County General Reserve Fund number 1001-103-9999 and appropriated into the Sheriff's Office budget number 1000-400-4004 machinery and equipment in the County General Fund. I move we approve as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any discussion?
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I understand. This is a rewrite of last month's ordinance. What I'm unclear on is, so Pam, when this gets appropriated in this way, is this being appropriated out of general? Like, is this paid out of general?
This is coming from the reserve fund. It has to be appropriated into the reserve fund, or any fund. It has to be appropriated into that fund and then transferred and appropriated to wherever you're wanting to put it.
Okay, so because the reserve, and I'm just making sure that because I want to make it sure it comes out of that reserve fund. But even though it's already sitting there, it still has to be appropriated into it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it wasn't in the annual operating budget.
Well, it was noted, but I know it wasn't appropriated.
Right.
But I'm just making sure that I understand that so it's not appropriated out of general in any way. It'll come
No.
directly out of reserve. Okay,
Yes.
that's just
Yes.
what I wanted to make sure where it's coming from. So if this does it, then that's great.
So how much are we required, mandated to hold in reserve? 20% of the budget? Yeah.
You don't have a mandate.
We can only budget off 90%.
Okay,
so we gotta hold back
90%,
that
we can hold
10.
10.
But as far as a reserve account, I haven't seen where we're required to have anything.
We're required to budget off the general,
Yeah.
not off of the reserve.
But that general is in excess of, right now we're blessed, but, you know, that our general reserve and those other little funds that we have, we don't have to carry any of that. But for general, we just can't budget more than 90% of what is projected to come in. So I kind of have to hold back 10% of your general.
I'm curious on that second whereas they secured a grant, but the funds weren't enough. How much does these things cost?
The sheriff's here, so I'll let him.
Sure.
Hey, Esther. So I've got good news. The dash cameras were $144,000. The 50 that's being paid down, and Shasta just finished the same grant we got for the body cameras that was $50,000. It was increased to $75,000, and it's already been submitted. No reason we won't be approved for it next year. $5,000 of that will go towards 4 more new radar units, and $70,000 will go towards those dash cameras,
Well, what was
leaving
your-
us $24,000 owed.
My question is, what was your previous grant? What did you?
It's the same grant that we applied for on the body cameras. It's called a public safety grant. It was $50,000. That went to the body cameras. Then we just applied for this grant, which is $75,000.
Okay.
And $70,000 of that, once approved, when it's awarded, it will be after January of 2025. So that will be paid on those cameras. That's $70,000.
So the total, I believe,
Will
for
be
the
left.
camera, yeah, but the total to begin with was around 150.
144, 150.
Around $150,000.
Yeah.
And basically, they secured grants for $100,000. And
So this will take care of it.
this will take the rest. And we had actually passed an ordinance last year to do this, but the problem was the money didn't get spent by the end of the year. We noted it in the annual budget that we made to cover it, to just to make sure of our intent. And then we passed this one last month, but it didn't work out exactly. So this one is going to ensure that that gets paid. So
Okay.
we've been trying to do it. It just hasn't lined up. But
Further discussion? Roll call vote.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Nikki,
yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Lemmings,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
O 2024-27.
Thank you. Next up, we have a resolution that's sponsored by Virgil Lemmings. And resolutions only have to be read by title unless you choose to read the whole thing. So I'll leave that up to you, Virgil.
Well, I don't mind reading it all. It's just if I need to read it, if anybody has questions about it, I need to read it.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and read the title.
Okay. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution authorizing the county judge of Van Buren County to apply for a grant on behalf of the Allred Community Center.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion we adopt it as written.
We have a motion and a couple of seconds to adopt this resolution. This, if you remember in the last packet, there was a resolution for the Allred Senior Center or Community Center. This is yet another grant, so they're going after two different grants of two different styles. So, okay. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of adoption of this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
R 2024-09.
Excellent. That brings us up to the end. Do we have any public comments? Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Any opposed? Thank you.
How soon was the first?